Keep the conversation respectful. Mr. Kevin Samuels gave out the same energy he received. Mr. Samuels has always mentioned, if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Should strong and independence be met with strong, solid truth? Why should Mr. Samuels watch his tone with a rude, arrogant, combative individual who identifies as a woman? Let's discuss.
You'll catch a lot of women that call this man platform and give him a very arrogant, sassy, rude attitude. Like, for instance, quick question for you. Whenever you heard his tone, whenever you saw a clip and you didn't like his tone, did you see a clip or were you watching the show?
Clip.
And that's another thing, that's what the clip does. That's what the clip does. I mean, that, we've all seen the basketball highlight tape. Right. You ain't missing no shot because you edited the video, right. So it's one of those things where he has a 3-hour show and they take a 5-minute clip and say, this is who he is. And it's not true. Every caller, he is well-mannered with them. He's well-spoken with them. Now, when you get a size 18 bus driver that makes $38,000 and she's looking for a man to swim her in luxury, then he starts questioning you like, hey, the man that you want, do you know what he wants from you? And then when we start digging down that path, you start realizing like, wow, this is a sassy, arrogant woman with high expectations. So now we got to bring you back down to reality. And a lot of people don't like reality. A lot of people don't like the truth. So don't get me wrong. And that's point one. A lot of our women, they claim to be strong and independent. Well, check it out, baby. Since you so damn strong, why should I watch my tone with you? Now, I'm not going to curse you out, but you strong, right? You independent. So shouldn't strength be met with strong truth and solid facts?
No.
Because like Khalil, and lastly, before I digress, imagine growing up playing basketball and football. Imagine if we told our coaches, hey man, I don't like the way you said that. They gonna say, hey man, well, go change in the locker room. Tell your mama to go pick you up. Go walk home.
Yeah. And so I don't disagree with that point. I think I'm going to use a term called toxic. I think in this situation, we have a very delicate dance in between when it's appropriate to address our women with aggression and when it's not. Ironically,
remember, they don't like nice guys.
Yeah. We talked about that. Traditionally, a lot of our women have either openly admitted, or the stereotype is that they don't receive men who talk to them with a level of tenderness and care. I know that's not completely true, but there is truth in
right.
There is truth in that.
Right.
And so there's a dance in between. I think there's a desire for women to still of course be addressed with a level of tenderness, but still be talked to with a level of harshness. And I think it's a delicate dance, and quite frankly, it can be a very unhealthy dance, because generally, I would argue in our community, it's more so on the side of what gets the results unfortunately a lot of our sisters have responded to being talked to with a level of disrespect and aggression. And so I think that, and I'll say this too, to even your point, as much for as many as women who complained about how Brother Samuels addressed them, there were still so many women who went to his platform and still
because he was providing exactly,
and that speaks to the dynamic of our community. Is like, I'm as speaking as a therapist, but also just as a black man in the culture, I'm all for us talking to each other with a level of respect. But the reality is, we are not very responsive overall when we talk to each other with a level of respect, and you know, I bear witness to it with my own personal
Right.
experiences, and I bear
Yeah, we're
witness
not
to it.
perfect.
Yeah, I'm bearing witness to it, working in our community, and it's just like
Exactly.
there's a level of dismissiveness and
Yeah.
and assholeness that we respond
Yeah.
to it, and it's like, when are we going to start? The bigger question is, okay, you don't like the way he said some of these things. Okay, that's fine. But
Right.
when are we going to start doing the deeper work? So if we're really about that, when are we going to start doing the deeper work? So that's no longer a issue on both sides, because I don't really see it. I
Exactly.
don't see that changing. I don't see that changing.
And on top of that, you know, with the whole tone thing, it's all about who I'm dealing with. You know, if I'm dealing with a respectful lady, I'm going to talk to her with a nice tone. I don't go around disrespecting women.
Sure.
But at the same time, do a lot of these women watch their tone with what they say? You know, like people, be honest, Khalil, what's the worst thing that you heard Kevin Samuels say?
Oh gosh. I think I'm gonna be honest with you, man. He said a lot of stuff. I can tell you this: there were times where there were times where he didn't agree with what his sister said, and when he would press that slap button, I was like,